Welcome to the Two Into You podcast, the show where we explore the difference between love that lifts you up and love that holds you back. I'm your host, Mary, project coordinator of Two Into You, and each episode we'll unpack red flags, celebrate green flags, and help you spot when someone is too into you. Run by Women's Aid, the Two Into You campaign helps young people recognise when affection and romance crosses the line. Together, we're here to help you understand what love should feel like: safe, respectful, and free from control. Today, we're so grateful to be joined by Jody Duggan. From the ages of 17 to 19, Jody was abused by her now convicted ex-partner, Jake Boles. Jody is now an ambassador for the Two Into You campaign and bravely shares her story so other young women feel less alone. Before we kick off, on this episode, we talk about intimate relationship abuse, which some listeners may find distressing. But if you're worried about your own relationship or even a friend's relationship, you can call the Women's Aid 24-hour national Freephone helpline on 1800 341 900 or use the chat service at twointoyou.ie. Both are free and completely confidential. Make sure you follow the Two Into You podcast wherever you get your podcasts. A new episode drops the first Monday of every month. So let's get started. Jody, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm delighted. Thanks so much.
So just to kick us off, is there anything recently that brought you joy or comfort recently? It could be anything at all, a book, a hobby, or a favourite food.
I picked up running recently and I find it really helpful. Like, I would not have ran to shop. Like, I was not a runner at all. Yeah. And then me and my mum in like the end of December, start of January, were like, let's just do the half marathon.
Oh, wow.
Where I cannot run for the life of me. I'm saying this now I'm going to have to do it because I've said it out loud. But yeah, I really enjoy it. I think we push each other a lot and it's nice to do it with someone who's starting from scratch as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just brought me a lot of joy. Like it's something nice to do with my mum.
Yeah.
And it just clears my head. Yeah, 100%, definitely, without a doubt.
Are you using like any of the apps or anything?
Yeah, I used just from like my friends telling me like Strava, stuff like that. But like it's gas, you have like little updates on it and mine will be like, I still hate running. Like I'm just not a runner. But by the end of it, I'm like, okay, grand, it's
You're
done.
not like posting your route on Instagram like, oh God, look how great I am.
No, God, no. I need to get better first. Oh, no.
And speaking of your mum, so who are the women in your life that you're grateful for?
I'm surrounded by so many incredible women. Like, I'm so grateful. Between my mum and my nanny, like the support that I've gotten from them is out of this world. Like, I'm so incredibly grateful to have the two of them in my life. And then also I work in a hair salon as well. So like surrounded by women that throughout my whole process have just supported me from start to end. And like between doing like events in the salon to just having a shoulder to cry on. Do you know what I mean? Like it's out of this world. I'm so grateful.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so glad that you've such a good support system around you.
Yeah.
So Jody, you've had a really difficult experience with your first love.
Yeah.
Can you take us through the beginning of your relationship, you know, how it all started?
Yeah.
You know, even in the first 2 weeks, what did it feel like when you first started going out?
It was very fast. Like the first time we had met in person, he asked me to his girlfriend and like I was so young, he had a few drinks on him, so I was like, oh, he won't remember this. I was just like, yeah, like it was flirty, it was like, yeah, haha, whatever. And then the next morning it was like, no, like you're my girlfriend. So I was like, okay. Like all my friends had boyfriends, I was the only one who didn't. I felt a little bit like left out and self-conscious, my confidence was low. So he was a bit of a bad boy and he showed me a bit of attention. And so
I think kind of nice.
Yeah, I think it was just like feeding off my insecurities that it worked. We ended up being together. It wasn't controlling at the beginning.
Yeah.
It wasn't. Like, it was a little bit of jealousy, but at the start I thought it was flattering in a way, which now I'm like, that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Like,
was he romantic?
Yes. Yeah. At the start he would have been 100%. We would have spent a lot of time together. He would have been really patient with me. But I do think a lot of that was like love bombing. I think that was like filling me with all this false love that wasn't actually there, and then hurting me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about love bombing in the Two Into You campaign. Yeah. So I suppose, what were the kind of behaviours maybe that you saw that might have given you rose-coloured glasses or kind of swept you off your feet? Especially at that age, you know, you're so young and it can be exciting to be given attention.
100%. Just like presents, flowers, stuff like that, like filling my head full of things like that. He loves me, that like he's never met anyone like me, and like all these things that you want to hear, but aren't necessarily true. Then it would be like, I love you, your parents don't love you as much as I do, they're wrong for you, and it would change. It was like trapping me. So it was like high and low all the time.
Yeah. And do you think that like that intense affection kind of made it harder to spot, say, like red flags or more kind of controlling behaviours?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I didn't know about Women's Aid. I didn't know about 2 I was 17, so I was like, this isn't going to happen to me. Like, this just doesn't happen to young girls. So, like, this is normal. Like, my friends fight with their boyfriends, but that would be, like, a healthy, like, disagreement. But this was on another level. Like, this was screaming, like, trapping me in rooms. It was not letting me leave. Like, it led to being, like, really violent. And I was embarrassed. Like, I didn't want to tell anyone this was happening because to everyone else, we were a happy couple. Yeah, he was a bit mad on a night out, but everyone just thought he was fun. And even my friends still say to this day, like, he held it so well. Like, we loved him. He was so nice until he slowly started breaking, and it was what was happening to me in private started happening in public.
Yeah.
And then people started to see what was actually happening behind closed doors.
So he was different in public at the start.
100%. Yeah, 100%. He was the person that everyone loved. He was the loudest in the room, the funniest in the room. And I think that kind of attracted me as well because he was a people person. But I also think it was very manipulative. Like, he was very tactical, knew what he was doing. He knew how to play people against me. People, like, still to this day are like, apologise to me. They're like, sorry, we thought you were the one who was like crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that wasn't the case. Like, I'm not leaving and throwing a huff and a puff because of nothing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. I was just leaving, and he'd say, oh, she threw a drink on me. I didn't.
Yeah.
I left because I was uncomfortable. I was upset. And he'd make me out to be this psycho that I said X, Y, and Z and did this, that, and the other. And I just got so exhausted that I just let people believe it.
Yeah.
There's no point. There was no point. I felt like in saying anything because they're never going to believe me. Do you know?
And I would imagine that he was saying that as well to you, that people wouldn't believe you.
100%. Like, he said that the guards would never believe me. No one would ever believe me. He said that he'd tell people that I put these marks on myself. A matter of fact, the scary part was, if he didn't get his way, he'd actually hit himself until he was black and blue. And it was terrifying. He'd punch and punch and punch himself in the face and have lumps and marks and hit his head off things. And he'd say, well, I'm going to tell people you did this to me. And who's ever going to believe that I didn't do that? Do you know what I mean? Like,
and did you feel then like a sense of responsibility to him, or
100%.
to kind of hide things, or?
Yeah. He would hold me down and hold a knife to his neck and say that he was going to kill himself. And I felt bad for him because he wasn't only kicked out of his mom's house, he was also kicked out of his dad's house for their own reasons. So he was renting a room in Ratout. And I felt a bit of responsibility in taking care of him because he would tell me that he had no one around him, that I was the reason he had moved to Ratout, which wasn't the case. And like silly things, like he wouldn't buy himself shopping, he wouldn't have food. So like I felt like I'd have to bring stuff up to where he was, and he'd say that like he'd have no one around him, he'd be upset that I was the only person he'd have. But I just think it was like that love bombing. I think it was between that and manipulation, it worked. Like, unfortunately, it did work. I was young. It was my first love. And it's unfortunate that happened, but like things happen for a reason. I definitely think if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger 100%.
And what would happen, say, if you didn't do those things? Like if you didn't bring shopping up to him, or if you didn't like spend all your time with him, how would he react?
I'm a very caring person. I try to fix people. And I think I took it upon myself to try give back, to make him happier, to make his life easier. But like if I tried to leave, like say in the morning I woke up and I said, all right, I'm going to go home, or I'm going to fly up to the shop and get like breakfast or something. God, no, that wasn't happening. There would be a big argument. You're not leaving, you're not going anywhere, you're gonna leave me. Like my mum and dad at one stage were like, you may as well be paying rent in that house, you're always there. But they didn't understand I could not leave. Like he at one stage he locked me in, like there was this little walk-in wardrobe, like tiny, he couldn't even stand up in it properly, and he locked me in there and he's like, you're not leaving. Like you have to stay with me, and if you leave I'm gonna kill myself. And I remember once, like he literally chased me around the house. Like I was running from him and there was no escaping. Like, and then another time he literally like stripped my clothes off me and pushed me out the door. Like how humiliating that is. If anyone was to ever see me, like I wouldn't get changed into anyone. Like I'm very private. Like that's just the way I am. And for that to happen I was just like, right, just come into the house and be quiet. Just sit there. Just take it.
Must have been so frightening, especially like at that age, and to have all that pressure. You know, to be tiptoeing around him all the time. Did you feel like you were kind of
constantly,
tiptoeing.
constantly. Like I just knew every week there was going to be something. Like I think people think it's a once or twice off thing that it happened, but he was charged for one or two things, but it was every weekend. Like it was without a doubt, if not twice a week, something was happening.
And like when you were tiptoeing around him, how did you feel?
Lost. I had no emotions. It got to the point where it was just like, I have no more tears left to cry. Like I'm numb. I'd fallen out with my friends, my family. There was nothing there. It was just like, this is just all I have now. I just have to kind of accept it and get on with it, which isn't the case at all. Like, but it did hurt. Like you'd sit at home and think about it and be like, what the hell is going on? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But I was so numb to it all that I just kind of accepted it and nearly felt like I deserved it in a way, because he had filled my head with so much things that I thought it was my fault.
Yeah. And that's one thing I know you've spoken a lot about, is like the idea that, you know, abuse is physical, but also that emotional abuse is far less spoken about. And that's the thing that really wears down your self-esteem and your self-confidence. Can you talk to me a little bit about emotional abuse and the impact that it had on you?
He'd fill my head with so many things, that I'd never get any better, that I was worthless. Like he'd literally spit in my face, and that's like the lowest of the low that you can do. I just wasn't myself. I was lost. My friends noticed it, and I struggled. Like I struggled massively. Like all it needed was someone asked me, was I okay? And that was it. I just started crying. It's actually crazy that the last probably 3 years since he's been convicted, when he actually got convicted, I was okay. And I didn't understand why I was okay. And when we were sitting in court, I was like to my mum, why am I crying? Like I have nothing in me. Why am I crying? I thought this was going to be so emotional, like a relief. I just didn't know how to feel, and it was just numb. And then I only think in the last year, it's probably been the hardest year so far. Like I have struggled massively. Like I'm so lucky to have people around me, but like if I didn't have them, I actually don't know what I would have done, because it's hard. Like it is hard. It's hard when you're trying to get over it. And I think I nearly talk about it like it was someone else. Like I try not to think about it too much, but I have to accept what happened has happened. And it will make you a better person, and it will make you stronger. But like, it's okay not to be all right. Like it's okay to have a cry and feel down. And I've gone to counselling, I've done everything I can, but I have my bad days. I have days where I don't want to get up out of bed. I have my days still that if someone asks me, am I okay? Like I'm going to start crying. Like it is what it is. I'm very, very lucky with the people that I have around me. And I just think if I didn't have them, I'd be definitely lost.
Yeah. And I think as well, that sounds to me very much like a trauma response. Like, you know, in the courts, and like the, you know, 3 years afterwards, that it was very much like almost a freeze or like fawn, you know, where you just can't feel anything. Because
it's like fight or flight.
Yeah, exactly. It's your body protecting yourself from actually feeling what's going on. And it's probably only now that stuff is starting to come to the surface.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you have people around you to support you, because it can be really, really difficult to, you know, for this stuff to come up.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen it take a toll on my family. Like for my mum and dad, for them to sit in court and see it all happen and hear it all is incredibly difficult for them, especially that it was brought back to the courts as well. And to see him, like my mum was ready to pounce. Like she was ready to say something, and it's just not worth your while. Like it's not going to fix anything. It's not going to resolve anything. And even like going into court, I just didn't recognize him. It was just, I think, like you said, I think it's just a trauma response. Yeah. I disassociate myself from it. I suppose that's just the way I cope with it. But like I said, I have gotten help. I have talked about it, and I definitely do think it makes you a stronger person, without a doubt.
I just want to bring it back a little bit just to before you did reach out for support.
Yeah.
After things kind of had started to change and he was being more controlling, emotionally abusive, more physically abusive, was there a particular time, say maybe that something clicked and you thought, okay, something needs to change here, this isn't going to stop?
Yeah, I think near the end of the relationship, he was slipping up in front of people. Like this act had slowly faded and he couldn't hold it in any longer. Like we were in a nightclub and he had a few drinks and I'm pretty sure he was on drugs as well. And I'd said something to him and that was it. He was punching the wall beside my head and someone had seen, took him outside and he was screaming every name under the sun. Like that I was a tramp, I was a slut, I was this, that and the other. Like for me to go off with all these other fellas. And I was like, he was my first boyfriend. Like it was just so much crap that he was talking. Sorry but for saying that, but like it was just people were believing it. And he's going to say he was going to jump in the liffey. Like, people literally had to pin him down. But he'd always say to me, if I go like that, I need you there because I will kill myself. So I'm running after him. They're like, don't do it. And everyone's saying, leave him alone, don't go near him. You don't understand. Like, in my head, he is actually going to hurt himself. And it's going to be my fault because he told me he would write a letter to say the reason he killed himself was me. And at 17, 18 years old, you believe that. Yeah. And it's a massive weight on your shoulders. So I'm running after him whilst he's calling me these names. And my friends are like, what are you doing? Like, you're an idiot. And then that night we'd come home and I'd spoke to him upstairs and I was like, look, this just isn't working. Like, I tried to do it as calm as I could. And that's the last night it had happened. He kicked off. He smashed a mirror. There's glass in my hands. There was blood. My mum and dad were away. So, like, by the time they'd come back, my room was completely uplifted. It was destroyed. He had taken a house key from my house. He had taken my passport with him when he'd left. But I think that was the last time because I just thought, like, enough's enough. I need to talk to someone. Yeah.
Did you think that he would ever change? Did you feel like maybe if you did enough things that he might change?
Yeah, 100%. I never want anything bad to happen to anyone. And I still feel a sense of guilt. I think I always will. And I know I'm not in the wrong, but I'll always feel a sense of guilt because I don't want anyone to have to go to prison. Do you know what I mean? It's not something I want someone in there because of me. And that's, sometimes I can think that way and I know I shouldn't, but like I'm sure that was extremely difficult, but you made your bed, you may sleep in it. This is what happens.
And he's not in prison because of you, he's in prison because of himself.
And I think to kind of make an example for other men as well, that you aren't going to get away with it. Like, I wasn't giving up. Like, I had started this, I'm going to finish it.
Yeah.
I'm not letting people think that he got away with it and it wasn't as bad as it was. I wanted people to know that I wiped my anonymity and he got his sentence, which was, in my opinion, very short, but he still got a sentence. Do you know, he still got to be punished for what he had done. And I just don't think a slap in the hand was enough. He needed to go in there and he needed time to think what he had done and to learn from it and hopefully never ever do it again to anyone else.
And can you tell me a little bit about your experience with, reporting and the courts? I know it was very difficult.
Yeah, it was incredibly difficult. Like, I think I always talk about it. I think it was shocking. Like, being a victim in there is incredibly difficult. Like, I felt like I walked into the courts and I was a lost soul. You don't know where to sit. You don't know what to do. And then when you do sit down, he's so close to you. When you go up to give your victim impact statement, he sat beside me. It's like, why are all these things done? Like, it's not that hard. Even like the littlest of things of having us separate so that I don't have to feel him staring at me. And it was just horrible. And then between that and then my experience with the guards, I found extremely difficult. I do think they need to be educated more on how to handle it with victims. I did have court support with Women's Aid. I remember walking out of the courts and my mum was like, like, they're for you, the cameras. And I was like, no, they're not. I was like, they're not, like, why don't they want to talk to me? And walking out and it was like, Jody, how do you feel? I was like, what the hell? Like, what is going on here? What do you mean? How do I feel? I don't know how I feel. Yeah. And like, if my best friend and my mum weren't there to back me up, they're like, tell them how you feel. You can do this.
Yeah.
And I had my best friend standing beside me. And I was like, right, okay, this is my one chance. Like, I need people to know. And it was incredibly difficult, but I'm glad I did it.
You took a very difficult experience and you turned it into something, maybe a source of strength and empowerment. Well, that's certainly what I see of you anyway. You have used your story to try and help other people. But I'd love to know, like, what is life like now, that the abuse is over? I know you said that it's been difficult the last year.
Yeah. It's something I think I'll always struggle with. Like, I'm surrounded by amazing friends, family. I've a great boyfriend, but I'll always have that little thing in the back of my head of being like, you're not good enough. Like, you are annoying, you're this, that and the other. And I struggle. Like, I always said, I don't want people to feel bad for me because it's not something I want people to feel bad for. But do I think what happened to me had this effect? 100%. In like everyday things, like with my job, I never feel like I'm at a certain standard. And with my friends, I always feel like sometimes, like, it's not their fault, it's me. Like, I feel like, well, maybe you shouldn't have said that, maybe you're in the way. Even with my boyfriend, but he's so incredibly patient that he's like, stop thinking about this. Like, you are more than enough. Like, it's amazing to have that. And same with my family. It's like, get up, get going, and don't let this eat you up, because I could have let this really like broke me, but I refuse to let it. I do struggle, but I do think time is a healer, and hopefully over time it will get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think sharing your experience has helped in your journey to building yourself back?
Yeah, 100%. Like I always said, like I had the choice to keep my name private, but if I did that, so was his. And I just thought to myself, from the people around me, I thought, well, I've nothing to be embarrassed about. They all know it. And if me, by doing this, I've said it from day one, helps one woman or young girl, like that's my job done. It's out there now, so I may as well keep going if it's helping someone. And it's definitely healing me, because I've come to accept what's happened. And like I know I got upset there, but I don't really get upset over it. I openly talk about it. If someone asks me, I'm not offended. If you want to ask me questions, that's totally fine. Obviously, like there's certain questions not to ask, but I'm really open, and if it can help someone, I'm more than happy to talk about it. Like I said, you just kind of have to accept what happened, and time's a healer. Having people around you is incredibly important. And like that, having Women's Aid into you has definitely helped. Like with you, has being able to share my story, and for other young girls, I think definitely has helped me heal as well.
I'm really glad to hear that. And, you know, we have gotten messages from people saying that hearing your story has helped them see their relationship for what it is and help them to leave abusive relationships. So, like, you have made a difference in young women's lives. I already know that for a fact.
Thank you.
I suppose, you know, it is a very difficult thing to revisit and to talk about. It's a very heavy topic, but, you know, with 2 Into You, we're also trying to get people to pursue healthy and happy relationships. I'd love to know how you define healthy love now, having gone through something so difficult. What is the kind of love that you would love to have?
I think I have it. Like, I am very lucky with my boyfriend. I think we have really healthy boundaries, that he has his life, I have my life. And we don't argue. Like, I think people find that insane, but like, we don't fight, which sounds insane, but like, we might have a disagreement, but 5 minutes later we're both laughing and hugging, and it's fine, and it's back to normal. And I needed someone who was really patient and could put up with a lot of tears because that did happen, and he did support me a lot. And I just think like little things like getting on with my family, like I could be upstairs like getting ready, I don't even know he's already knocked on the door, he's in the kitchen talking to my mum and dad. Do you know, like I could come down and they're having a laugh and they're getting on well, they feel comfortable, I feel comfortable. Same with his family. I think I'm really lucky with the relationship I'm in now, and having him beside me, I think helped me heal as well.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And just to bring it back to 2 Into You, because you had said that you didn't know about 2 Into You before.
No.
Say you had 2 Into You when you were younger. Do you think it would have helped? And I suppose, what do you think it's bringing to young women in Ireland?
I definitely think it would have helped me, because I didn't know, as like stupid as this sounds, I didn't know that it was as bad as it was. And I didn't know that these little red flags were going to build up to what it was in the end. And I do think if I had it there, I would have seen it a lot clearer. And having that for young women now, I think is incredibly important, because I'd never now let anyone tell me what to wear. Like if I'm not going somewhere or not doing something, because like, who are you to tell me to live my life? And back then I would have listened 100%. Yeah, I'm not going, no problem. But now I'd never let that happen. And knowing these red flags, I do think will help younger girls out there and older girls, everyone.
I know you've spoken about your best friend as well. And I think it's so important that we look out for each other. And, you know, often people can kind of think, oh, well, it's not my business, I don't want to get involved.
Yeah.
From your experience or your perspective, like, what do you think friends' role can be, say, if somebody is going through this?
Like, I think bringing it up to your friend and talking to you about it, I could definitely see myself in the past getting defensive and trying to protect him. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that, like, I wouldn't think that's rude or nasty. It's just either brainwashed or just defensive, or just like take them aside, talk to them, to ask them how they are on a one-to-one level. Maybe say to them, look, it's looking really unhealthy. I think you can do a lot better than this. How are you? Is there anything I can do to support you? Go on a walk. Like little things, showing them the two into you. I definitely think that will help.
Yeah.
But it is very difficult, I understand, for people to step in. I've had people say to me as well, like we didn't know what to do, especially at such a young age. Like how do you address something like that, as serious as that, in such a young age? Like I couldn't address it, so I didn't expect anyone else to be able to.
Yeah.
But I just think to sit them down and talk to them, maybe ask them like, are they okay? Is there anything that you can do? And just like explain to them how you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's so important as well. Them being defensive is so normal because they're going, like, there's so much shame around being abused, you know, that you're going to think that it's your fault because that's what your partner tells you.
Yeah.
So if your friend is bringing it up to you, of course, you're going to be defensive because you don't want anyone to think, well, this happens to me.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, you know, it's not your fault.
No.
It's done to you by someone else who has made a choice to abuse you.
Yeah.
But I think you're dead right. Like, just to say something, you know, or even just check in on your friend is really important.
Yeah. And like you said, I do think it's a choice. Like, I think in my head, I blame myself. But like over the years thinking about it, he had a choice to act the way he did. Like, you can't blame drugs and alcohol because 90% of the time it was when that wasn't involved. Yeah. And it could be a random Tuesday morning, we just wake up and he's just so incredibly mad at me for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, he made choices to act the way he did, and like them actions have consequences.
Absolutely. What gives you hope for the future, both personally and for the 2 and 2 campaign and your work with the campaign?
Seeing how 2 and 2 is blown up, like how it's going to help so many other young girls. And like, I know abuse happens. It doesn't only happen to women, but a lot of the time it is women that you see that are being abused, unfortunately, and highlighting it and kind of getting rid of that shame around it, I think is important, because there is a lot of shame around it. And I think at the start, I remember walking into places and thinking, I'm so embarrassed. Like, I know people are talking about it. I know walking into the shop, I've seen it in the newspaper. Like, I just wanted to hide. But I just think that stigma needs to go. And it's just highlighting for other men to know that these actions are not okay. You're not going to get away with it. And justice will be served eventually, do you know?
And then lastly, if you could give a piece of advice, or if there's any message that you'd love to give to any girl or any young person who's listening, who, you know, any of this sounds familiar.
Yeah.
What would you like to tell them?
I think don't be ashamed or embarrassed, because it's nothing for you to be embarrassed about. And definitely to talk to the people around you, how you feel about it, because unfortunately it will break you down if you stay in a relationship like that. And there's so many other incredible people out there that you could find. There's not just that one person, and someone will treat you the way you deserve to be treated.
So now we're joined by Madeline Campbell, who's the 2 and 2 officer, and we're going to just chat about my conversation with Jody through a 2 and 2 lens. So Madeline, what did you think of the episode? What really stood out to you?
First of all, I think Jody is just a phenomenal person. Like, having her come and chat to you was so incredible, and she touched on so many different things. But I think the kind of through line was talking about the emotional abuse and the impacts that it had. So I don't know, maybe we can give a definition of what emotional abuse is and some examples of what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So for anyone who doesn't understand, emotional abuse is basically any way that your partner or even your ex-partner makes you feel afraid or worried or confused in the relationship. And actually, emotional abuse is by far the most common form of abuse for young women in particular. So from our own research, in Women's Aid, we know that, you know, 1 in 5 young women aged 18 to 25 will be abused by a partner or ex. And of that 1 in 5, 9 in 10 are subjected to emotional abuse. So it's really, really common. And often I think there's this idea that abuse has to be really violent or be physically abusive for it to be taken seriously. But actually, emotional abuse is just as serious as any of the other forms.
Yeah. And like Jody said, like, the impacts of the physical abuse were severe, but she's still working on the impacts of those emotional abuse. And like, there's so many different ways that those things happen. Like, she talked about when they first got together, love bombing. He came up in the first date, will you be my girlfriend? And then after that, it was flowers and constantly saying like, oh, you're the only person for me. Like, you're the one and only. Like, that's love bombing. And it's a tactic of emotional abuse because it's meant to control and manipulate that person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's something that can feel really exciting when you're going out with someone to, get gifts, to have somebody professing their love or, wanting to spend all their time with you. That can feel really exciting and it can feel almost like your moment, you know. But if you feel that you're under pressure to move faster in the relationship than you're ready for, or to reciprocate feelings, or to do things that you don't want to do, then that's a real major red flag because, it's your partner overstepping your boundaries and saying, well, because I did this nice thing for you, you have to do this. One of the examples that we would hear quite commonly in Women's Aid is if a partner does something nice. So say, for example, they bring you out to dinner or they pay for something, they bring you out to the cinema or they get you flowers. And there's almost this expectation that you're going to have sex or you're going to be physical in some way because it's almost assumed that that's just what you do in the relationship. But if you're not ready yet, or if you're maybe not in the mood, you're tired, or you had a really big meal and you just don't want to do that, it's not normal for your partner to pressure you into doing that.
Right.
They should listen to you and want you to feel comfortable.
Yeah, you shouldn't ever feel like you have to owe your partner something. It should be like a really balanced and safe and secure place to like be able to express what you want and what you need. One of the things I think that was really interesting that Jody was talking about was when she was saying like she'd go out with her friends and her boyfriend would be, everybody would gravitate towards him. He was the funniest in the room and everybody was looking to him and everyone thought he was such a good guy. He got along with her parents. So he was this good guy in public, but behind closed doors or when it was just the two of them, like he was an abusive person. So like, what does that mean when you're with someone like that who is, the good person in public and then behind closed doors, they're not nice and they're nasty and all these things? Like, how would that make a person feel? Like,
I could imagine it would be very confusing for someone because I suppose, people don't get into relationships with people who are abusive. They get into relationships with people who they think are really nice, are lovely. They see the good qualities in them.
Yeah.
Because it's not until later generally that slowly these behaviors will start to trickle in.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that they do that is they paint themselves as this perfect partner to the people in your life.
Yeah.
So they might go out of their way to do things for your family. They might, help your mom out with something in the kitchen or they'll make sure that they spend time with your friends.
Yeah.
Which on the surface could seem really nice.
Yeah.
But then if they're acting in a very different way to you, it can then make you feel like you're going crazy because if you then wanted to speak to your friends about how your partner is treating you, they've set themselves up as this really good guy to your friends. And then if your partner tells you, well, they're not going to believe you because they love me. So obviously you're going to believe that. So that can be a really, really confusing thing to happen, and actually it's a form of gaslighting.
Yeah. And those like seemingly romantic gestures that turns into abuse can be scary and frightening for someone who's experiencing it. Something else that Jody talked about was her experience with the courts and going forward with reporting coercive control and reporting her ex. So she said that experience was really difficult. Obviously, it's difficult to revisit those things, but going through the courts is a process that all kinds of people have to go through. Yeah.
And, Jody's experience was really difficult, but I'm glad that she had the support of the court accompaniment service through Women's Aid. So what that is if you don't have someone to go to court with you, because often in abusive relationships, you'll be isolated or cut off from family and friends, your key supports. So having someone with you just to go to court with you can be really, really helpful. Navigating the legal system, especially when you're young, can feel really daunting and really confusing, how to even start that process. So that's why we're always trying to, encourage people to reach out to Women's Aid and know that you don't have to do this alone. We've been doing this for 50 years and supporting women who've gone through some really difficult situations and circumstances. But we're there to be, I suppose, the hand at your back to help you through what can be a very daunting process.
Yeah.
But also, it is now changing in Ireland. So, we have new legislation around coercive control. So coercive control is basically a form of abuse that includes all different types of abuse. So it's when your partner makes you feel afraid of them, and it makes it feel like it's almost impossible to break up with them. So it'll be a pattern of controlling behaviors that make you feel really trapped in the relationship. So it can include emotional abuse. So that coercion, gaslighting, manipulation, guilt tripping, that kind of thing. It can include physical abuse. So things from pushing to hitting, or even threats of physical abuse. It can include sexual abuse, being forced or pressured or guilted into doing things sexually that you don't want to do. But normally it's a combination of lots of different kinds of abuse where you really feel trapped. So now in Ireland, it is a crime to not only commit coercive control against another person, it's a crime to threaten coercive control. So if someone threatens to be abusive, if they say, well, if you don't do this, I'm going to react this way, or I'm going to hurt you, that itself is a crime. And there now have been convictions in Ireland on coercive control. So it's really important that people know that there are supports that are there for you. And there are organisations like Women's Aid and like the 2 and 2 campaign who will believe you and who will help you along that process. The one thing that I really love as well is that Jody has a really strong support system around her. So we just want people to remember that, your friends are here for you, Women's Aid is here for you. But, as a friend, it can feel like a daunting task to reach out to a friend and offer support. Madeline, do you want to tell them a little bit about our Help a Friend guide?
Yeah. We know that people want to help their friends when they see them in these scary situations, or even if they just feel like something is wrong in their friend's relationship, we know that they want to help. So we have a How to Help a Friend guide on 2 and 2. And it talks about like how to start a conversation with your friend, how to just be there for them. Like it could just be as simple as sending them a text or asking if they want to grab a coffee. And it doesn't have to be that they constantly have to talk about their relationship or what they might feel is wrong in their relationship, but it's just that you're present for them. So really listening, believing, and supporting them. Yeah. So our guide goes through all of the ways that you can do that and really support your friend. But also our chat service is available for friends who are worried as well. So it's not just for someone who might be experiencing abuse, but it's also for people who are worried about a friend or a family member. It could be their sister or their cousin or something like that.
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to Jody for coming and sharing her experience with us. Remember, if you're worried about your own relationship or even a friend's relationship, you can call the Women's Aid 24-hour national Freephone helpline on 1800 341 900 or visit 2intoyou.ie for information and support.
We'll end the episode with something that Jody said, which is that someone will treat you how you deserve to be treated. You deserve a healthy relationship, and you deserve green flags.